Hi, good afternoon. Please let me know if someone is online so that I can start the session. I think there are about 3 minutes left, so I'll wait it out till it's 12 noon and then we'll start it off. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Gauri Kulkarni, and if you can hear me, please do let me know so that I could start the session. So it's 12 o'clock, and let's go ahead and start the session. So my name is Dr. Gauri Kulkarni. I am a practicing family medicine specialist here in Bangalore. I've been practicing for the last 12 years. I'm also a mental health professional, and I have special interests in palliative care and geriatrics. And today we would be talking about the recent scare of the COVID-19 infection, what it is all about, and particularly with all people who are now working from home, how you can start converting the working from home into winning from home. So let's begin the session. To begin with, I would want to give you a brief on what the COVID-19 infection is all about and how you can take care of yourself, and then go ahead with talking about how we can be more productive at work. So, as we all know, right, the COVID-19 infection started off, which is the coronavirus 2019 strain, the COVID-19 infection, started off in China, and now it has become a pandemic as declared by the WHO. In India, we are seeing a rise in the number of cases on, every day, and I think the government is doing a great job at trying to curtail and limit the spread of infection. And all of us are committed to the lockdown that the government has brought up, and we are all in this battle together to work together with our government to reduce the spread of this infection and reduce the mortality rate because of this infection. So the COVID-19 infection is actually caused because of a virus which is known as the SARS-CoV-2, which is the sudden acute respiratory distress coronavirus strain 2. And this infection basically is a viral infection leading to symptomatologies which may range from a mild form of illness such as fever, dry throat, cough, etc., to breathlessness, bluish discoloration of your hands and feet and lips, to tightness in the chest, to respiratory distress as well. Now, these symptoms can be quite varied, and the reason why there is a lot of talk about this is the fact that the incubation period of this disease is very long. So anywhere between say 2 to 3 days to 14 days. So a lot of people who may be carrying the infection may be asymptomatic at this point in time, but may show symptoms later on. And because of this, the amount of spread of infection that can happen can be very, very large, and hence the reason for all of us to stay in the lockdown, right? So there are certain, of course, we all know about the precautionary measures that all of us, each one of us, should follow every day, every single moment of our life, to ensure that we do not catch this infection, and if we do, then hopefully recover fast from it. What are these basic preventive measures? The first and foremost is hand hygiene. Wash your hands thoroughly, regularly, repeatedly throughout the day. Use soap and water, 20-second rule. Washing all surfaces of your hand repeatedly would help to reduce the spread of this infection. This infection usually spreads because of droplet or microdroplet infection, wherein if I sneeze or cough and if I'm carrying the infection, I can spread it to somebody else. So it's important for us to know how we sneeze and cough, right? So you need to sneeze and cough in your elbows, or if you're using a tissue, then you need to dispose it well, and again wash your hands well, right? The next important thing is, if you do have certain symptoms, right? If you have any symptom which is a flu-like symptom, cold, fever, cough, anything, the first and foremost thing that you need to do is stay isolated, stay away even from your family members, stay in a separate room, stay away from children or elderly people at home. because if you do have the infection, right, then at least you would not spread it to other people in the family. So it's important that you do that, right? Now, if you do develop symptoms and they are looking difficult or severe, it's a good idea for you to talk to a doctor first, right? So pick up the phone. Telemedicine is now coming up. There's a lot of teleconsultations happening. Talk to a doctor on phone. Discuss your symptoms. The doctor may ask you specific, questions regarding your travel history, any contact history. It's a good idea for you to tell all these information up front. This can help to this can help to ensure that everybody is safe, right? Apparently the voice is not audible. Just give me a moment. I'll just figure out what is the problem. Yes. Please let me know if the voice is audible now. Okay. So as I was explaining, if you do have any symptoms, it's a good idea for you to talk to a doctor, understand, and if the doctor feels that you need to get yourself investigated, then it's a good idea for you to go ahead and take a test. The doctor will tell you where to go, how to get it done, and accordingly you can go ahead and get the test done. All right. So a lot of people have now asked questions about, they're worried about their parents at home, how they can keep their immunity strong. So yes, it's very important. Immunity is something which is talked about. If your immunity levels are high, even if you do get the infection, the severity of the infection would be not as high, or the complications won't be not as bad, and hence it's always recommended that you do keep your immunity up and about, right? So how do you do that? A good lifestyle, number one. Eating right, eating the right kinds of food, have a balanced approach to your diet, have lots of vitamins and minerals in your diet, fruits and vegetables, have lots of protein in your diet, ensure that you have certain foods like, vitamin C, vitamin D, have sunlight exposure, have a lot of vitamin C rich citrus fruits, have zinc and magnesium rich foods which will help you to boost your immunity, right? Who do have lots of lots of exercise in your day-to-day life. Now when I say exercise, a lot of people would say, how do I step out? Because of course there's a lockdown, so a lot of exercise can be done at home, right? So you can do, there are videos that you can watch and do, practice breathing techniques, practice yoga, practice floor exercises, dance around. There are a lot of ways in which you can keep yourself active. So I think it's very, very important that you watch out for what you eat and how much you exercise. The next important thing is definitely how much, a good night's sleep, drinking enough water, and of course de-stressing. I think that's something that I'll be talking about at length. A few people have also asked questions about the fact that they do exercise but they have still gained weight during the quarantine period. And yes, one of the reasons for gaining weight can be also because of stress, right? So I may be exercising well, I may be eating right, but if I'm not sleeping right, or I'm not sleeping adequately, or if I am feeling very stressed out, there is always a high likelihood that you may end up gaining weight. So if you do feel like that, it's a good idea for you to talk to someone. You may have a friend, a family, a colleague, or reach out to a professional over a phone call, talk to a counselor, talk to a doctor to understand what's happening, and then maybe they'll be able to help you out better. Okay. So most of us, I think, with the infections going around, there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry that all of us carry every day. And I think the first and foremost thing that we all need to do is to ensure that we are aware of these feelings that we have, because not just on a physical level that this lockdown may affect you, if somebody was talking about weight gain, but it's also at a mental level, at a social level, at a spiritual level, that it can really affect you. And I think it's important for all of us to first be aware of it, right? And first kind of acknowledge it, that, oh, this is happening to me. A lot of times we don't discuss our anxieties and worries. Many of us might be having children at home, elderly people at home, and we don't, many a times we are worried for them, and sometimes it's all right to share this worry with another family member or a colleague, and it helps to kind of just get it out. A lot of people who work in corporates also stay alone. I mean, I know a lot of single people who would be staying in the bigger cities, be it in PGs or being staying at alone, and that can also lead to boredom and loneliness. And I think that's also something um, that needs to be tackled. I think it's important that we should connect with other people. It's important that you use technology to stay connected. Stay connected and have regular calls or video calls with parents or with children or with colleagues and friends. It helps to kind of feel one with everyone around. Be it even if it is so virtually, but still it's a good idea. We may have a lot of fears and anxieties and a lot of avoidance that we may do. So it's important that first and foremost is to acknowledge and be aware of it. Right now, going to the part of social distress that we go through, right? Because we are a lot of times it could be that there are only the family members are at home, or you might be alone. So and you may not be able to socialize with other people that you usually do. Like if you're at office, you would have colleagues or superiors or managers or somebody else who you might be quite close to and connected, and now you don't feel like that. So there's a lot of this sense of social disconnect. But I think as long as you can use technology, and sometimes it's all right to over communicate, isn't it? It's all right to kind of talk more, reach out and express more. I think once we start doing that with each other, it of course would help you in your well-being first, and then the community at large, right? So it's important for you to kind of acknowledge that, right? At a spiritual level as well, a lot of us are now coming to a place where we start kind of questioning the existence itself, and it's all right for you to think through it and talk about it, and even read about it. Like a lot of people might feel quite spiritual and would want to give into the higher powers, and it's all right for you if you are comfortable in doing that and talking about it, right? So great. So I have a lot of people who have come in and joined. Thank you so much. And I see that there are people who have said about not sleeping well and piling on kilos despite eating right. And yes, that's true. That's true. A lot of us might be going through this, and this is most probably because of stressors, right? We are internally feeling stressed, and this stress is basically because of the anxiety and the uncertainty of future. A lot of us don't know what's going to happen. How are things going to pan out? What if I get an infection, or what if I am responsible for a loved one or a family member getting this infection, or what if there's a lot of heightened anxiety about what we read in our newspapers, and what we all the numbers that we keep seeing, and people who are unfortunately could not survive the infection. So these are all very disheartening kind of news, and it tends to kind of take a toll on us, I feel. A lot of times we also feel anger because of maybe behavior of other people in the community, and that also, these are all negative emotions that build inside us, and that can cause stress, leading to abnormal hormone release in our body and leading to weight gain. So I think important for us is to understand and acknowledge that we are going through these emotional turmoils and these negative emotions, talk about it, and try to see how we can get ourselves distracted from it. So one of the things that I have started doing in my life is to kind of cut off from news. You don't need to see news every single time. So we have so much of news available at the touch of a button, right? But it's all right to just switch off, and have notifications only at some point in time instead of just looking at it every time, because it kind of runs on your mind and it stays with you subconsciously. So just cutting off sometimes helps, right? Focusing on things that you like the most, right? It could be a hobby, it could be your children, it could be parents, it could be just building meaningful relationships, learning something new. I think it's a good thing. It's a good time for us to kind of self-introspect and maybe do things we have never thought we would do, right? So these are some of the few things that you can do to help yourself from trying to stay focused and reduce the anxieties and the mental distress that you may be going through. All right. Now, going to, a lot of people have asked questions about, how can how can we start winning at home? And I think it's important for all of us to understand that work from home, before I have spoken to a lot of people, and before they would say that work from home was basically a holiday. A lot of people would do that, but now is the time that we do not know when we are going to go back out to office. We really don't have clear cut idea. There is nothing which has come out from the government which clearly tells us when it is going to happen, right? So we know that work from home is there to stay, okay, for some time at least. So we need to kind of mold ourselves and function ourselves in such a way that that it our work is optimal, our work is as great and as efficient as it was anywhere else, even in the office setting, and it gives us purpose and meaning at the end of the day, right? So that's why it's important that we manage this. Now the first and foremost thing that people come up with and ask about this is, how do we manage time, right? Now I would want to go back and ask these people that, how did you manage time when you were going to office, right? So it's absolutely, I understand a lot of people who might be in a family setting where there are children at home, there are elderly people at home, and you have to take care of and manage a lot of things. There might be, the house help is not there, so you're doing a lot more things at home besides the work as well. So if you are in a family setting, I think it's very important for you to first divide your work, right? It really helps. It really helps to define and divide work at home, so that everybody has clear and defined roles to play. If you have young children at home, get them into the habit of actually contributing to the work at home, so that they also value what's happening at home. They understand the gravity of the situation, and they participate well, so that they also get a purpose to what they are doing and being at home, right? So one is to first divide work, as if so that everybody is participants, that everybody's, so workload is not only on one person, but everyone in the family who is capable of doing it, right? The other thing is for you is to fix timings, right? Have a routine. I think routine really plays a role. When you were going to office, in your office building as well, you did have a routine, right? You would get up at a time, you would get ready, if you were cooking or if you had to clean or whatever it is, you would have a routine in place. I think all of us need to follow routine. Maybe it's a little different this time, but still the routine has to happen. Why? Because routine helps you to kind of get your mind on track on what needs to happen next. If you try to jumble up everything, it's just, most probably you will not be able to focus at any point in time. So have a routine in place, right? So when you are going to sit at work, right, that this is your work time, right? So that you are only going to do work during that period of time. I mean, my suggestion is always that you have a dedicated to if you do have the ability to what can I say, if you to find a space at home where you can sit and have a specific what do I say, a specific space for yourself where you can keep your laptop or your work gadgets or whatever that is, take your calls. So do that, do it in a designated space. So that kind of akin becomes your like a workspace, right? So you're able to kind of compartmentalize and figure out work from your home, right? So that's important. Now take frequent breaks, in my opinion, because sitting at one place, and because you're not used to having such a place. If you were in your office building also, you would take breaks, right? Take breaks to say have a cup of water, have some, if you want to have a tea or a coffee, take those breaks, stretch yourself. A lot of times when people are working from home, the biggest mistake that they do is to sit on their sit on their bed and sit in a very awkward position and then take calls or do some work on the computer. I think it really offsets the whole thing, because you would end up physically tiring yourself and also mentally. And also because bed is a place that you sleep, so you would not be able to kind of focus on your work that much, right? So it's important that you, before even you start and find that dedicated spot, also check on your how you're sitting, how is the lighting okay, do you have plug-in points around, is the space adequate, are there any distractions? A lot of people would sit in front of the television and then work, which is difficult, right? Because then you do not know if you're working or you're watching television. Both are great, but watch television when you should be watching only television, right? So also a lot of times, like for example, especially for women, I mean, I know I go through this as well. You may have a lot of distractions, right? Like there could be the child at home, there could be the laundry running, or there is food to be kept or something like that. There could be multiple things and multiple distractions at work, right? So I usually advise people that if you do have multiple distractions, try to focus on only one distraction, right? It's better. So that the other distractions, either you don't look at them or just let it be. If there's a pile of clothes lying there, so just let it be. Have only one. Maybe the only distraction that I usually give preference to is my child, right? So because of course they also need the attention that they deserve, considering that you are at home, right? So I think these are the few things, if in terms of distractions that you can do. A big thing about working from home is setting a schedule, right? I usually like to start working early, right? Because think about it, when you were going to office, you have to add your commute time to the office, right? So if you had to say you start your work at 10 in the morning, actually you will leave home by 9, supposedly, right? So actually you have that 1 extra hour, okay? And it's always I think it really works if your work gives you that flexibility to start early and finish early, so that you can give that much more time to home and other works that you have, and the family at home. So I think it really helps if you can start early, finish early. Also, I think everybody has a different routine. I think some people work in shifts, some people work in regular general timing. So it depends on how your work kind of sets you apart. But whatever your timings may be, okay, whatever timings may be, it is important that you fix that schedule for yourself, so that accordingly you can eat on time, drink enough water, take your resting period or your sleep time as well. So it's very, very important that you set a schedule for yourself, right? I think very, very important for you is to take breaks in between. A lot of us, when we are working, our breaks are a place where you would fit in some other work, right? A lot of us do that. So I am, I'm not on a call, let me go and cook something. I think that doesn't work, because then you have not really taken a break in that sense. So when I say break, it's a good idea to just get up, stretch a little bit, do some eye exercises, check your posture, check if you have any pain in your in your body, and drink some water, refresh your mind, and then come back to work. I think that really works, right? So somebody messaged saying morning time is very well for concentration of work. I totally agree. I think starting early may be working for few people, but not for everyone very well, right? That starting early is not the right approach. I feel it is not a right approach for a lot of people, because they may be working late at night, right? So I think it depends on every individual. I think it depends on every person, what is their routine that they have brought up, right? It's very, very important for all of us to understand and set that routine. If it works for you to get up early, great, I think that's fine. If you're a person who thinks better in the night, or who cycle is so, I think that's fine, as long as it works for you and as long as you're productive during that time. I think that is what is more important. But I leave the choice to you, right? But you need to understand that and take the right decision, I feel. Okay, I think one of the few caveats that I would want to look out is people who work from home either do not give enough time or they give too much time at work. And I think it's important for us to maintain typical hours, right? So if your working hours are, say, I don't know, 8 hours, 9 hours, whatever that is, I think you should maintain that timing, right? A lot of people may end up working lesser, uh, most people end up working more. In the sense, when I say more, the amount of contribution to work might not be as much, but you feel as if your days are very long because you tend to keep checking on your emails or checking on some kind of some kind of information that has come because it is at your fingertip. But I think it's important for you to maintain some hours and then kind of log off as well. It's okay to shut down, right? It's okay to shut down and say, okay, I'm going to do this tomorrow, or and that helps to set expectations right, isn't it? A lot of times, people may have a tendency to feel that you are always available. I think that doesn't work. I think it's important for you to set those expectations right, and then say that these are my work hours, and this is how much how much I can do, and this is my best productivity, and you work towards it. But then also have those typical hours and then log off, so that you have time for family, you have time for yourself, self development, time with the family. I think it's important. So yes, somebody very clearly, very very important, somebody said difficult to put a full stop when home is office and office is home. I agree. It is difficult, but I think it's a choice that we make for ourselves, and I think it's a choice that we make for ourselves and our family as well, right? Yes, it is. Sometimes it seems easy, right, to say that switch off, but it's not easy. But I think that's a commitment that you should keep for yourself, because it is important for your physical, mental, and social well-being as well. Because when you log off from work, you have other things. I think it's important that on a daily basis you need to keep communicating with other friends in your circle, with other family members, important loved ones, and it is important that they also get that much time as much you give to your work, isn't it? So I think it's important that we bring in typical hours and tell ourselves that we are going to log off. I think it really helps. Now, one of the things with people, which I tell a lot of people, is sometimes it's okay to over communicate, right? Because you are away. See, when you're in an office setting, you have people in front of you. You can just get up, go there and talk and resolve. But a lot of times, when you are at work, you do not know the what situation the other person is in, or you may not, the other person might not know what's happening with you. So it's all right to over communicate. It's all right to tell people what's happening, tell people what is your schedule, if you are not able, if you're not available, or whatever that is. I think it's okay to kind of talk about it and over communicate and tell all your team members or your managers or your subordinates or whoever, your colleagues, whoever they are around you who work with you, so that it helps in not just your productivity but their productivity as well, right? So it's important that you kind of manage that. I think that's extremely important. Keep communicating. I think at many levels, I think just communication helps in reducing a lot of barriers that we may have, right? I think that personally I feel that if you keep communicating well, okay, if you keep communicating not just at a work level but communicating with your family members, with your children, with elderly in the family, with your colleagues, and communicating with yourself, your inwards, I think if you can listen to yourself as well, it can take you a long way in reducing your stress, keeping positive thoughts in your mind, and being able to focus and do the right things day in and day out, right? So I think that is really really important for all of us, because there is a very fuzzy line between work and a home and responsibilities and letting go. So it's important that we communicate well, right? Not just with people outside, but with ourselves inwards as well. If we do that, I think it will really really take us a long way. In this in the situation that we are all in, isn't it? So I think one of the things that people have asked is a lot of worry that people have about what is when is this going to go away. One question that came up was when are we going to see the end of this infection? Very difficult question to answer actually. We are hoping that if we make this lockdown a success, and it may be possible that this may get extended for some more time, but if we are able to focus and stay committed, and it's not just one person, right? It's not just me or you or the family or the community. It's everyone, each one of us. If we stay committed to this cause, in when I say committed to this cause, it means that, if you stay committed to the lockdown, to the instructions that the government has given, to all the precautionary measures, there's no reason why we cannot come out of it at the earliest. But we need to be at it every single moment, every single day, to see the light of it, right? So that's really, really important. Somebody asked a question. You mentioned that work from home may continue. How can people do their routine health checks for themselves and their family? I think with telemedicine coming up, the best thing that you can do is first talk to your doctor, right? Talk to a doctor on phone, on a video. Everything is available now. Once you do that, I think the doctor would be the best person to tell you what is required for you, right? So if you are somebody who is otherwise keeping healthy, otherwise, do not have any health issues, and have, maybe done a recent health checkup, maybe we can wait it out for you. But then if you are a person who is already on medication, like a lot of elderly people in the family might be having diabetes or hypertension, some people who might be having chronic heart disease or any other issues for which they are on regular medication. I think it's important that they do keep in touch with their doctors, they do monitor their levels. Because of the lockdown, yes, there might be sometimes a delay in getting your test done. Even if that is so, ensure that you're taking all your medications on time. Do not leave any medications. If you do have any symptomatology, if you do have any side effects because of the medicines, if you do have any other questions, do talk to your doctor first. I think that's extremely important. Why is it important also is because, as I mentioned before as well, that a lot of people, and especially people of the older age group, who do have comorbidities like these, that is diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, chronic kidney disease, they tend to, if they do get the COVID-19 infection, they tend to have a more complicated form of disease, right? And it has been, at least in India, what has been seen is that the mortality rate in the elderly age group is as high as 65%. So it's quite high, right? So I think it's important for you to know this. And if you have elderly parents at home, ensure the first thing that you need to ensure is that they are taking their medications on time. In general, their chronic disease is under control. They are the ones who should never step out of the house. I mean, that is one thing, and I want to instruct this again and again. If you have older people at home, and there is a way in which you can manage and make them stay at home, please let them stay at home. They are not the ones who should step out, right? Because their risk of getting the infection is very high. Secondly, if they do get the infection, their recovery would be that much more slower, or their complications might be that much more higher. So it's important that we take care of the older people at home. So I think, just talking to a doctor will take you a long way in understanding your symptomatology, knowing what else can be done about this. And I think I'm sure that if all of us are in this together, we'll be able to fight it out. So to kind of put it all together, I think if you're a person who is working from home, definitely you need to take care of yourself first, at a physical level, at a mental health level, at a social level, and at a spiritual level. Right? Take care of yourself. See if you are feeling any kind of distress, and if yes, talk to someone. It could be just talking to a friend or a family member or a loved one, or take professional help if required. You need to also then take care of the people who depend on you, right? It could be your spouse, your children, your parents, or any other loved member of the family. So when you are at home, you need to kind of look at all of this. You need to manage your finances. You need to take care of a lot of things. So the important thing is for you to kind of keep yourself focused, keep yourself in a routine, and try and have as much positivity around you. Spending quality time with people around you, and people who mean a lot to you, right? So it could be either face to face if they are at home, or if not, even then, I think virtual medium is fantastic these days, and I think you should stay connected with everyone, right? So somebody asked saying about shortage of masks. I think I was about to end, but then I think it's a very pertinent question. Masks. We must understand that who needs masks, right? And there are different kind of masks. There are regular masks. You have the surgical masks. You have the N95 respirator masks. See these, and everybody is kind of scampering to get the N95 respirator mask, saying that I would want to protect myself. So first thing we need to understand that who most needs it. It is the healthcare professionals, the doctors, the paramedic staff, the nurses, the ambulance drivers, the contact tracers. All of these people, they need it because they are at highest risk of getting it. People who have the infection, right? I'm a confirmed case. If I'm a confirmed case, then I definitely need it. Okay. People who are close contacts with the confirmed case, if they might also be people who may be spreading it further. So they are the ones who need to use masks in general. Everyone else, I think, first is to cover your mouth. Okay. Two, I think more than that, I think washing your hands, I think really does the trick. Washing your hands, cleaning your surfaces, seeing that there is no dust around, or no chance that there could be a droplet infection or droplet which is fallen if somebody is coughed and cold, has coughed or sneezed around that area. So if you can just do that, that's enough. You may want to just cover your face, even with a cloth mask is all right. Social distancing is, which is what is more important, right? So even if somebody sneezes in front of you, if you are away from this person, then most probably it's not going to reach you. So the whole point is that yes, if you do have a mask, you can use it. Otherwise, you can just use a cloth mask. You can use something to cover your nose. But the other things are more important: washing your hands, social distancing, staying away, keeping surfaces clean, the high touch surfaces we say, those clean. I think they take you a long way in preventing and protecting you from getting the COVID-19 infection. All right. As I was mentioning, I think it's important that all of us do the right thing for ourselves. Stay happy, stay focused, stay healthy, and stay safe. If there are any more questions, do let me know, and I'll try my best to answer it at a later date. So take care and do the right thing. Stay indoors and stay safe. Thank you.